was the scorching heat of September, and a dozen people, most of whom seemed to be affiliated with some government institution, had been standing in the sun for quite some time, waiting for someone. Although the temperature was a little below 40 degrees, the desert winds made it feel like 49 degrees Celsius. After a while, a car arrived, kicking up dust, and stopped near them. Then, a coffin was taken out of the car, and a strange scene unfolded. The coffin had large locks on both corners, as if it contained not a dead body, but a treasure. Some people tried to open the coffin, but they were pushed back. The Imam Sahib arrived, formed a prayer line, and led the funeral prayer. Security personnel surrounded the grave from all sides, as if they were there to prevent any possible protests. Before the burial, some people shouted again, "For God's sake, let us see the face once. We don't even know if it's our father or someone else in this coffin." A government officer stepped forward and said, "The body's condition is very bad. It's not possible to show you the face." However, there was a time when this face had such charm that girls would fall in love just by catching a glimpse of him. He was over 6 feet tall, with a broad chest, long curly hair, fiery moustache, thick black beard, sharp facial features, and eyes full of grandeur. He looked like a god in the city of heroes. He was the Sardar, known as the Tiger of Balochistan. He was the Sardar who lived his life in palaces, but met his death in a cave. And he was the Sardar who was proud of his land, and has now gone into that very land forever. The mistake of Garikuda Baksh was repeated in Dera Bugti once again. Another leader was buried forever. Today, we'll tell you the story of Sardar Nawab Akbar Khan Bugti, a speed of 80 years on young minds. People these days keep talking about Marang Baloch, but the story of Balochistan is incomplete without understanding Akbar Bugti. In the books of the Pakistani establishment, Akbar Bugti, a certified traitor is how he's registered, but these books have labelled almost all political and civilian figures as traitors, from Maulvi Fazal Haq to Hussein Shahid Surawadi, Faiz to Faraz, Moazzam to Bhutto. Even Fatima Jinnah, the sister of the founder of Pakistan, hasn't been spared. Perhaps paying attention to these books isn't the wisest thing to do. However, the truth is that even among the intellectuals, there are two clear parties when it comes to Akbar Bugti. One side considers him a traitor and an enemy of the state, while the other views him as a freedom-loving and visionary leader. Now, who's right and who's wrong isn't for us to decide. Our job is to present all the facts and events before you, so you can decide for yourself whether Bugti was a friend or a traitor. But before we start the story, please do like and subscribe to the channel. Let's begin. Today marked the 21st birthday of Akbar Khan, and he was sitting in the drawing room with his friends, sharing stories and jokes. As he took a sip of tea, he said, "The first murder I committed was at the age of 12. After that, I don't even remember how many men I've killed." In tribal areas, murder wasn't considered a big deal, especially when the killer came from a noble family. However, Akbar was different. This chief of the ancient warrior tribe of Baloch had received education from elite institutions like Karachi Grammar School and Oxford. He wore lounge suits, spoke fluent English, but his politics was different. In 1947, at the Quetta Shahi Jirga, while all the Baloch leaders boycotted, Akbar Bugti stepped forward and voted in favor of Pakistan. The Bugti tribe considers him the second birth of the legendary Mir Chakar. But before understanding Akbar Bugti, it's essential to know about his tribe. How did this small nation, living in tea, the harshest desert in the world, manage to disrupt the sleep of Pakistan's most powerful army chief? We'll try to share some stories about Dera Bugti, along with Akbar Bugti's story. Let's explore a story you've likely never heard or seen before. The Balochs are old nation, as almost 10,000 years before in the region of Balochistan. According to Persian poet Ferdowsi, in the 6th century, the ruler of Persia, Khusrau, tried to destroy the Baloch because their flag had a lion symbol. The Baloch chief, al-Masudi Rumi, was first given the title of Tumen in the 10th century, which means 10,000 in Turkish. Even today, the correct title for a Baloch leader is Tumen. However, the ruler of Kerman demanded that each Tumen send a girl to his harem. Al-Masudi cleverly sent boys dressed as girls, which led to their expulsion from Kerman and migration to Sistan. The Baloch nation expanded from the 4 sons of Jalal Khan, Rind, Hoth, Lashar, and Korai. Among these, the Rind tribe was the most powerful, led by Mir Chakar Khan. It's said that Mir Chakar helped Emperor Humayun return to India after being exiled but passed away in Lahore at the age of 96 before Humayun could capture Delhi. Many warriors settled in Punjab, but a part of the Rind tribe made a 7,000 square mile area their permanent home, where the Mari and Bugti tribes reside today. Dera Bugti is a place with a harsh sun that often reaches temperatures of 50 degrees Celsius. In 1952, Pakistan's largest gas discovery was made in Sui, Dera Bugti. Today, the Sui gas field is like a small town with its own school, hospital, and airport. However, the Bugti tribe never received royalties from the gas field. Instead, the government took the revenue. The locals even lacked access to gas, and jobs were given to outsiders. The people of Dera Bugti have always complained about this injustice. One resident says, 55 years have passed, and they still haven't given us gas. What will they give us? Every bit of our national wealth, our natural gas, has been flowing through these pipelines for the last 50 years and more to every nook and corner of Pakistan, but not Balochistan. The Sui gas field is the same place where Mir Chakar had settled, and where British General John Jacob fought several battles with the Bugti tribe in the 19th century. General Jacob wrote that the heat in this region from April to October was like an enemy's sword. The heat here is more dangerous than an enemy's sword. People find it hard to pass through without losing something. This place is known for sandstorms and violence. In the desert, along with sandstorms, poisonous winds sometimes blow, scorching plants and animals. The Bugti tribe is known for their bravery, marching 60 to 600 miles without stopping to attack a camp or military post, and then returning without rest or water in the scorching heat. Despite continuous wars, the British admired the Bugti tribe's courage and determination, who never agreed to surrender. The Bugti warriors wore white clothes, which made them distinct. British General John Jacob wrote that the Bugti tribe could have taken advantage of the unbearable weather and terrain to attack from behind, but they always fought bravely face to face. The Bugti Opal didn't cut their long, curly hair and beards and refused to change their traditional attire. In those days, horses or camels were a luxury for pedestrians in Dera Bugti. Even with the arrival of trucks, the tradition of walking continued for years. Now, let's get back to Akbar Bugti. When Pakistan was formed, young Akbar Bugti was already leading 42,000 Bugti people after studying at HSN College. In fact, Akbar Bugti became the chief of the tribe at the age of 12 after his father Mehrab Bugti's death. However, the British appointed his uncle, who was accused of Mehrab Bugti's murder, as the regent of the region. Akbar Bugti was a champion in cricket, polo, and swimming. He got married at the age of 15, and his second marriage was to a Pashtun woman, while his third marriage was to an Iranian woman. During Ayub Khan's regime, when Akbar Bugti was imprisoned, a Swedish woman, his girlfriend, would visit him in jail. Akbar Bugti was one of the first CSP officers of Pakistan and had a passion for reading books on history, politics, and Baloch poetry. Dera Bugti had one of the largest private libraries in Pakistan, which was destroyed in a bombing in 2005. During the British era, present-day Balochistan was divided into 2 parts, the state of Kalat and British Balochistan. As Dera Bugti was part of British Balochistan, Nawab Bugti, as a member of the Shahi Jirga, voted in favour of Pakistan in 1947. In 1950, Hay contested their first election and lost to Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan's brother. During this time, their uncle Hayat Khan's body was found in Jacobabad, and the accusation fell on Akbar Bugti, but he denied it. In the 1958 general elections, Akbar Bugti became a member of the assembly, but martial law was imposed just a few months later, which Nawab Akbar Bugti openly opposed. Ayub Khan accused him of murdering his uncle and sentenced him to death through a military court. However, after 8 years, Ayub Khan commuted the sentence, and Akbar Bugti was released. Initially, he supported the National Awami Party, but differences arose, and Bhutto took advantage of this difference, imprisoning Mangal Bagh and appointing Nawab Bugti as the governor of Balochistan. However, the Bugti-Bhutto partnership didn't last long, and Nawab Bugti parted ways with the government. When Zia's martial law was imposed, Nawab Bugti protested in a unique way. He stopped speaking Urdu for several years and only spoke again when elections were held in the country. From 1990 to 1997, he was a part of the National Assembly and even became the chief minister once. It was a cold night in January 2005 when Dr. Shazia was about to sleep in her secured apartment in the Suigas field. Her husband, Khalid, was in Libya, and she was alone at home. The Suigas field security was handled by a special branch of the army, the Defense Security Guard, DSG. It's said that the security in this dangerous desert area is so tight that not even a bird can fly without being noticed. Shazia was in deep sleep when suddenly she woke up due to the sound of thunder. She felt like her eyes were covered and her hands were tied. "Who are you?" Shazia shouted, trying to break free. A heavy slap landed on her face, and a voice warned her not to shout or call anyone, threatening to shoot her if she didn't comply. The person stayed in her bedroom until sunrise, violating her dignity, and left with a warning to stay silent. Meanwhile, in the PPL headquarters, phones were ringing, but the chief communication officer, Nusrat Nasrullah, wasn't responding to calls or willing to write a statement. The head of the department, a former military officer, had to step in and write a press release, trying to downplay the incident. However, the news of Dr. Shazia Khalid's rape in the Sui gas field deed became an international story. The DSG took control of the field, and evidence was destroyed. Pressure was put on Dr. Shazia to label the incident as a robbery, and she was forced to sign a statement and leave for Islamabad the same night. Rape and cover-up of a victim in Pakistan was not an uncommon incident. But this case was different. The incident occurred in Bugti territory, and the chief suspect was a captain in the DSG. Before any investigation began, military dictator Pervez Musharraf appeared on TV and declared the captain 100% innocent. This statement added fuel to the fire. Captain Hamad was a captain rank officer accused in the Dr. Shazia case. Before a judicial commission could be formed to investigate, Musharraf, in his uniform, appeared on TV and declared Captain Hamad's innocence. The Bugti tribe was already upset with the army, and this incident further fueled their anger. When asked why Akbar Bugti was making this issue about his honor when Dr. Shazia was Sindhi, he replied simply, "No Sindhi will raise their voice on this matter. I don't appeal to dead people." Mir Chaka's followers took matters into their own hands, and rocket attacks on military vehicles and the Sui field began. The Sui field turned into a battlefield. The situation spiraled out of control, and the government propaganda machine started damaging Dr. Shazia's character. Dr. Shazia couldn't bear it and attempted suicide, which was foiled by her family. The government then started pressuring Dr. Shazia's family to leave the country. After the president declared Captain Hamad's innocence before the identification parade and tribunal, the case was effectively closed. The victim was threatened and eventually left for London with her family. A few months later, it was spread that the rape never occurred and was just a drama. Pervez Musharraf, while giving an interview to The Washington Post, said, "I know this business of making money, rape and get settled abroad." This statement sparked outrage. The international community reacted strongly, and Musharraf later claimed that the American newspaper had misinterpreted his words. The Washington Post later released the full recording, but Musharraf's reputation wasn't affected as he was a key ally in the war on terror. However, his focus shifted from Osama bin Laden to Nawab Akbar Bugti. After Pakistan's creation in Balochistan, there have been 3 military operations, but Dera Bugti has always managed to evade them. The state had no major complaints against the Bugti tribe, as they had always remained loyal to the Shah. However, after targeting the gas resources, Musharraf saw an opportunity to crack down on them. The government would say, "You're a traitor, you're not patriotic." They would say the same about Ghaffar Khan, "He's working with India." They would accuse others, "So-and-so is a traitor." After some time they would retract their statements, "No, he's patriotic." Then they would again accuse them of being traitors. This cycle would continue. The government labelled Nawab Bugti, Kaya-Baksh Mari, and Ataullah Mengal as rebels. It's worth noting that out of 78 Sardars, 75 had no issues and were working with the government. Only 3 Sardars were causing problems, and one of them was from Dera Bugti, who had attacked and damaged Sui. It was claimed that these 3 Sardars were the biggest obstacles to the progress of Balochistan and the Baloch people. In response, the Baloch nationalists held Musharraf responsible for occupying national resources and oppressing the people. In December, Musharraf was accused of being behind an attack on himself, and the blame was placed on Akbar Bugti. Akbar Bugti demanded an investigation into the allegations against him, but the situation escalated. Akbar Bugti and Pervez Musharraf's Cold War turned hot. Chaudhry Shujat and Mushahid Hussain tried to negotiate with Nawab Bugti, and Musharraf even sent a team to Dera Bugti. However, Nawab Bugti soon realized that the team had no authority. On one hand, there were negotiations, and on the other hand, enforced disappearances and torture cells were increasing. The government would say, "We're approaching you for negotiations." But the reality was different. Musharraf would say, "We're not negotiating from the mouth of a big gun or a big tank." He would give instructions that Nawab Bugti and Nawabzada Baloch Mari should be eliminated. One day, a special plane arrived in Sui from Islamabad to take Akbar Bugti. When Nawab Bugti reached the plane, it suddenly developed a technical issue. He waited for some time and then realized that it was just an excuse to humiliate him. He returned to Dera Bugti, and the plane took off immediately after he left. Akbar Bugti was not just a supporter of armed struggle. He had also participated in political processes with great patience. There was always a gun pointed at his head. Nawab Kaya-Baksh Mari had already warned Akbar Bugti, and Sardar Ataullah Mengal had also parted ways with Musharraf. Operations and negotiations couldn't go hand in hand. The situation had reached a point of no return. The army started bombing Dera Bugti. Akbar Bugti would say in every interview that it had been decided to kill him and Nawab Kaya-Baksh Mari's son Balach. Now they had to choose how they would be killed. You can kill Bugti, you can kill Mari, you can kill Mengal, you can kill 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 200, 400, 500, but you can't eliminate the entire Baloch population. Due to old age and illness, Nawab Bugti couldn't move much even in his own home. Still, it seemed like a young heart was beating in his 78-year-old body. In March 2005, Dera Bugti was attacked with tanks and aircraft, resulting in intense bombing. Dozens of people were killed, and 1.5 lakh people were displaced. 17 people from my family have died since March 11th. 33 of our people have been killed, and over 80 are injured. They're telling us to leave Nawab Bugti, but where will we go? Now Akbar Bugti had no option but to leave his home and take refuge in the mountains. The Nawab, who used to travel by plane, was now wandering on camelback in his old age. In an interview with Time magazine, Akbar Bugti said he would prefer to die fighting rather than in bed. The tribal leaders have a unique way of dealing with things. A few days before the attack on him, 79-year-old Akbar Bugti was climbing a mountain with the support of 2 people. When the team came for an interview and wanted to take his picture, Akbar Bugti stopped and said, "O Pashtun, Don't take my picture in a way that makes the enemy think Bugti has become weak. In August 2006, the military operation in Balochistan was in full swing when Musharraf meeting of civil and military leadership was convened. Chaudhry Shujat says that seeing General Nadim's aggression and Musharraf's silence, he realized that the military leadership had decided to eliminate Bugti. Despite this, he and Mushahid Hussain made a last attempt to convince General Nadim